a prophecy that 2 sons of Adam and 2 daughters of Eve will appear to defeat the White Witch and put an end to this 100-year winter.
I think you've made a mistake. We're not heroes.
There's no mistake. Aslan is on the move.
Aslan, we need your help.
I know, but understand, the future of Narnia rests on your courage.
If it's a war Aslan wants, it's a war he shall get.
They come in numbers far greater than our own.
Numbers do not win a battle.
No, but I bet they help.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the Faithful Critics. I'm Ashley.
I'm Steve.
I'm Dorina.
And today we'll be reviewing a very interesting movie called The Chronicles of Narnia. Yay, the crowd goes wild. Yay. So The Chronicles of Narnia is based off a novel by C.S. Lewis. We are a C.S. Lewis podcast done,
Yes.
I
This
guess.
is the second or third?
The second.
The second,
Oh,
then
second.
we will do more.
I will
We'll
do
probably
more.
do others.
Probably.
The other episode we did on C.S. Lewis was the Screwtape Letter. So if you haven't watched that one, definitely look out for it. And so this book, it's a fictional story based off a novel. And basically, it's about this place called Narnia. But it starts with 4 siblings. That is Peter, Edmund, Susan, and Lucy. And they're in like World War II era in England. So in England at some point, the Germans were bombing like London, and children had to be evacuated from like London and like all the urban areas and taken to the countryside. So these 4 siblings are kind of separated from their mother, and their father was, I think, in battle or something. And they're separated from their mother and they're taken to like some home in the countryside where someone was willing to take care of them. And that was actually, I think, also a theme that was highlighted in Paddington. Another show we did, how so like people in the countryside were able to accommodate these children, which was a really nice thing. But aside from that, so they end up in this house of a bit of an eccentric professor who has this wardrobe, and in this wardrobe there's a whole world called Narnia. I mean,
A whole new world.
a whole new world, man.
That's a different movie, but fine. Okay,
Oh, okay.
sorry.
That's
Oh yeah, actually,
but
that
you
is
know
a
what?
different
It's
movie.
Disney.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, it's
Disney.
actually
Fine.
Disney. This
It's
movie is
Disney.
Disney as well.
So we can sing that song.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, there's a whole world within the closet as you go like in the closet called Narnia. So of course the youngest one stumbles upon it because they're curious and stuff, but they're playing hide and seek. She stumbles upon it, and when she goes in, she meets this guy called Tamnas. So Tamnas isn't a guy really. He's a
Fawn.
Fawn.
Yeah.
So he's like half man, half like
Goat.
donkey or something. Or goat.
Goat. Yeah.
Good. So like he kind of walks on 2 legs, but then like up to his like waist he's like a man, and then he has like legs like a goat, which is kind of like scary. But in this whole, but then for some reason Lucy isn't scared. Actually, it was Tomnas who was scared of Lucy.
yeah, I love that.
Why?
I love that because I just like that interaction where the first time the main child character is interacting with the world, it's not scary, which is not always the way in most fantasy films. The first time the child interacts with the world, it's always with fear. This one was with kindness. I liked it.
Oh, okay. It was nice. But honestly, if it was me as a child, I'd be
Be
terrified.
running back to the wardrobe.
I'd be running. Hey! But anyway, so she meets Mr. Tamnas, and Mr. Tamnas kind of tries to lull her to sleep so that he kidnaps her, because apparently humans are like a treasonous thing to be around, a treasonous human to be around. Yeah, species to be around in this place called Narnia. And this is because the white witch, there's a witch who is currently ruling over Narnia, and she's kind of ensuring that Narnia is like snowy and frozen and all that. So this white witch has ensured that if anyone has stipulated that if anyone is caught with a human, they're going to be like jailed, or they're gonna like suffer the consequences. So Tamnas tries to kidnap her, but then he kind of sees like a lion in the fire. I know there's so many mythical creatures and mythical things happening. So sees a lion in the fire, and he grows a conscience, and then he decides not to kidnap her, and he actually returns her back to where she came from so that she's able to go back to the wardrobe, and tells her that it's not going to be safe for her to be there. Whatever the case, she goes back, she tells the siblings are like, Cap, that didn't happen, that can't happen. They try going back to the wardrobe. Of course, the wardrobe doesn't work out at that moment. So yeah, they think she's kind of having a wild imagination. And at night, of course, she tries again because, I mean, she made a friend. It was an interesting place. And as children are often curious, she goes back. And one of the brothers, Edmund, follows her. So Edmund, from the very beginning, has been established to be
the problem child.
Yeah, the problem.
But I think he's like,
I don't know,
projected upon with his older siblings that he's a problem child. Like if they just treated him with kindness when he made a mistake, I don't think it'd be that.
So there's no responsibility he has on.
No, there is, because he doesn't listen to instructions, fine. But then they berate him afterwards.
Okay, it's true, it's true.
In a way that's not corrective.
Yeah.
So
I see your point.
Especially the problemness.
Peter the eldest brother.
Yeah, but then I mean, like, there's this time he goes back into their house to get like a photo of their father, and their house is being bombed. How do you expect Peter not to react? That's a situation I need you to align. If we are evacuating, we are going.
Yeah, I think there was because the sentimentality behind it is something all of them eventually would have shared, because he was going for a photo for the brother. I understand why he was mad, but I didn't like how he spoke to him as correction.
Okay, but I guess it was more of a heat of the moment kind of thing. He didn't think about how it was kind of affecting him.
Okay, back
and
to
I
the
think
plot.
Oh yeah. Okay. So where was I? So Edmund follows Lucy into Narnia, and he kind of stumbles onto the White Witch. And the White Witch kind of entices him with Turkish Delight, which is like some type of sweet, which honestly, I kind of want to taste it, honestly. It looked very interesting and delightful. So entices him with these sweets and tells him that he should bring like his siblings along to be his servants, because as a White Witch, she doesn't have like an heir. So when she dies, he can be the heir, and the siblings now can be the servants. And of course, this excites him because, I mean, the way he was being treated was not the best. So he pledges that he will bring them, and eventually he runs into Lucy and they go back to the real world. Another thing I failed to mention is that time doesn't kind of move the same way when they enter Narnia. So they'll enter Narnia and be there for ages, but then in the real world, time hasn't really moved.
Like
so relativity and stuff from Interstellar. I mean, everything is just interconnecting.
It's the Faithful Critic universe.
Multiverse.
Yeah, it's just interconnecting.
Extended universe.
Yeah. So
the TFCEU.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cinematic.
The cinematic universe colliding. So anyways, whatever the case, eventually the four of them happen to stumble and enter into Narnia, and of course this time it works out, and they see the cupboard works out and they come to Narnia. And of course it's interesting for them because they believed that Lucy was lying, but then turns out Resentment was lying. But anyways, they get into Narnia and they go to Mr. Tamnas's house, and they find out that he has been arrested because of treason, and treason because he was hanging out with humans. And who is a human? Lucy. So now it's a thing of they're trying to kind of save Mr. Tamnas, or rather Lucy wants to save Mr. Tamnas, but then the others are like, we need to get out of here, or mostly Susan was like, we need to get out of here. But then as they are debating on this, a beaver comes and rescues them and informs them basically now now this is the plot, Sasa. Sasa India set up. So the plot is the four of them, there's a prophecy that 2 sons of Adam and 2 daughters of Eve will defeat the White Witch, and when they kind of come and rule over Narnia, they'll rule over Narnia, defeat the White Witch, and the winter will be over. So because of the prophecy, now they think that these siblings are going to be the guys who are going to defeat the White Witch, and they kind of go on this whole adventure to defeat the White Witch, and Edmund at some point betrays them, and he goes to the White Witch, and because the White Witch wants at least she doesn't want all of them to be together unified to rule, so she wants even at least kama mmoja ametoka hata kuwa among the 4. So eventually she captures Edmund, and they get into this like epic battle, and eventually of course the good guys always win. And I think that's basically the plot of in summary. I know I've missed out a lot of plot points. That
is the most important one. Aslan.
Oh yeah, Aslan.
Okay,
so Aslan is
no, let him explain.
Okay.
No, it's a very imposing lion, better than Mufasa.
Okay. Debatable.
Subtle foreshadowing.
And also the TFCU.
Yeah.
TFCCU or TFCU is coming together anyway. Anyways, so is this lion, and he's the messianic figure you mentioned that he was, or maybe I don't know whether you did.
Actually, I didn't mention he was a messianic figure, but yeah.
And what happens is he gives his life. So he's the embodiment of good in this film. He's the one who is the ruler, ultimate ruler of Narnia. And I don't know whether he's just like giving his leader, like that authority to lead to Akina, Peter, the kids. Yeah, I think maybe that's how it works. But he is the ultimate ruler of Narnia, and he's the one who sacrifices his life to save Edmund. And ultimately, when he dies, on that his sacrifice, his life is taken, and he dies, he actually rises again. And then that stone table is cracked into 2. There's so many parallels to what happens when Christ gives his life for. So he's like, and C.S. Lewis actually is someone who used this allegory to kind of put that message in there of like the good person dying for the guilty in order to save the lives of everyone in Narnia.
So it kind of was a representation of Christ, and this is more of a children's movie, so I think it was like a way to package the movie in a way that children would understand. So I really like that. So I guess we can go into what we liked about the movie before we get into our questions. So any of you?
So I think I can go. What I liked about, so let me just say my general impressions of the movie. I'd give the movie like 5.
Are you already rating the movie?
10. No, so that because it's kind of like half and half.
Okay.
Because I really had Chronicles of Narnia really hyped in my head.
For real?
Yeah, I thought it's going to be so epic and so exciting. So when I was watching it, I was like, wait, that's it. It's not as I thought it would be more enthralling than how it was. So the backdrop of Disney making the movie was because Harry Potter was doing really well, and they wanted to have their own fantasy franchise similar to Harry Potter. That's why they started the Chronicles of Narnia series, but they didn't really pick up as well as Harry Potter.
Yeah.
So now that is the level of expectation I had of how good it was. And then when I was just like, okay, that's it. Well, okay, sawa basi. And then now with that, so other things, I don't know if I was now nitpicking because it didn't meet the expectation
can I
had.
comment on that?
Mm-hmm.
I was actually wondering. I also feel like the same way. It wasn't as like roller coaster kind of movie. It was just like a solid, good story. So I was wondering, is it that our brains are like overstimulated by movies that take us up and down and all over the place?
Maybe.
Or that we can't appreciate just a solid. It's okay. It doesn't have too many. It's just
It could be because also the fantasy genre has a lot of those highs and lows. And so it could be that we've been that we've already... When did you watch it first because of recording, or you watched it?
Yeah, I've watched it before. I'd watched it before.
And how was it before? What was your first experience?
I thought it was exciting, but it's not like crazy exciting. I just thought it was interesting.
Okay, let me chime in. I think when I watched it as a child, I don't know whether it's nostalgia that's attached to the memory of like being a child and so it's enthralling, seeing like a whole world inside a closet. And then you see the imagination of a child, like kind of just wants that film to be real, you know. And the fact that there's a wardrobe somewhere, you're like, nkona nguo uko nyuma kunaweza kuwa na kaworld kingine, so you can see how it's like exciting.
You kept on checking your wardrobe. Did you do that?
Oh, yeah, I did. Absolutely. No, yes, I did that. Because I was bought into the concept. Anyway, with that nostalgia, I was like, yeah, I think I remember it to be such a thrilling movie. But then, exactly what you guys said on the first watch when we were rewatching, like, because I had it hyped up in my head, it wasn't as thrilling. But then I was like, I think I understand why as a child I appreciated it. I really understand, because I was it's kind of exciting to that effect. And Aslan was so imposing, so cool. Then there's kids, and then when kids are at the center of the movie, and they kind of did act quite well as well.
Yeah,
you know, they sold you on there. They sold you on the emotions.
Yeah, they did. But I think I've watched better child actors, but they did.
That's true. Yeah.
But they did. But they're better child actors.
Yeah, so I think that's one of the things that I really like appreciated about this film. Like, from like thinking about it from that perspective of nostalgia, I can see why it was a good movie. And also the message, like just understanding that message now as an adult, like seeing, okay, so I didn't know when I was watching as a child that it was supposed to be a representation of, you know, the good person dying on behalf of the guilty person too. So just seeing that again, I was like, okay, now I see. It's good. It's good. I like it.
Then I think I wish I watched it when I was 8, but I know I wouldn't have watched it when I was 8. Yeah, fantasy movies were not allowed.
Could you tell us why?
Nope.
Atukisema iko na the gospel.
Yeah, it's actually because it has like some crazy looking creatures. They're like men who are half horse, half man. They're talking. Every animal talks by the. Every animal talks.
If your mom sees the phone, the first scene.
No way.
Yeah, and that's like within like the first like 10 minutes. Yeah.
No way fantasy was allowed in our house, so I would not have watched. I think the first fantasy show I watched was Once Upon a Time, and I was in campus. Like that full fantasy that is humans and not animated.
Wait, not 100%. Even Harry Potter? When did you?
No, I didn't. I haven't watched Harry Potter.
Oh, you haven't?
Till now, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I haven't watched it. And so there's that, and then there's another show that has just come into my head that we watched, Percy Jackson, but it's because we watched it when we were in high school and in school. Otherwise, fantasy shows are not
allowed.
Yeah, and I think that's also why I didn't really connect with it as deeply, because I'm not really now a fan of fantasy shows because of that. Yeah.
I see.
Okay.
Will that tradition continue in
your household?
Under your
under
your leadership?
Under my leadership. I don't know. Because my mom's influence was strong, man. And my leadership, we shall depend on the husband to decide.
Okay, I see.
I think that's actually okay. I don't know whether we should get into that conversation. The way, do we as Africans kind of think some things to be like superstitious? Well, it's imaginative. Is there more spiritual meaning behind things? Like,
personally, I think the entire fantasy genre has some spiritual machinations, for lack of a better word. Okay, it's okay. I mean, you said it. Okay. In some way, it's just always lying somewhere behind it, like the spirituality aspects, because they always talk about moving from the physical body to a metaphysical body, that those transitions. There's always some spirituality, I think, in almost all fantasy shows.
Harry Potter, my goodness.
It's somewhere. Somewhere. Even the prayers, the spells, there's always, and I think that's why my mom was always like, do not watch those, because they may seem harmless, but you don't know the underlying like intent of the authors and where the
inspiration in quotes
is coming from. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that's a fair point actually, because you may watch it like with an innocent mind, but then like things are going on in the background that you have no idea about. So okay, fair enough. That's actually a very interesting point. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, how did you like the movie? You seem to be a very
I enjoyed it. I on the second rewatch, because it was kind of refreshing as well, some of those plot points, because I'd watch it.
Wait, the second rewatch is your third time watching?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So your child skumbuki vizuri, but I know I enjoyed it. Like sasa hii nilikuwa na watch kukumbuka vitu. And I was like, okay, so I think it's an interesting. I like the movie. I like the how the plot progresses, the whole hyping Aslan and the way he comes onto the scene. I kind of wonder, because when I watched the movie, I was thinking, I wish I would have read the books first.
Yes.
I really wish I did read the books first, because I feel as though, and maybe someone who's read the books rather, can tell us, like whether the movies are a good adaptation of the books.
I agree.
Because I have a feeling the books might be more. There might be more detail. The way I know C.S. Lewis, even though that's a fictional story, he does capture things quite well in his writing. So there's a sense in which I think you might appreciate the books better. But all the same, I think I did enjoy it for the most part. Some parts were a bit slow, but I enjoyed it for the most part. Yeah.
On the adaptation, I think for me, it was several parts where I felt like, wait, I feel like there's a scene
before
missing.
This one.
Because now they're with the beavers, they're being chased. They decide, okay, now we're going to live here because after we've been chased, and then go to this new section where they just kind of how do they move from the beavers to
they'll go through.
There's an underground.
Oh, there's a tunnel. Okay, so
Alafu meeting the Santa.
Now that's where I was going to. So now from there, it feels like when you think about fantasy genres, even like the Lord of the Rings, it's always like a journey story
There
as
we go.
well.
That's true. It's true.
So I'm pretty sure in the books, once they decide they're going to go to where Aslan is, that's also, there's a journey story there. Yeah. So that now meeting Santa makes sense, because they were like,
it was a bit random. Today we're being chased all of a sudden. Hiya, there's a sleigh. We should run, Nini. And then Kumbe, it's good guy. It's like,
and even those gifts, like now this is now the other part where I think just being an adult watching this show, because you've already watched so many other things that have already built upon some of the tropes that fantasy have. Because when you're given those ones, you're like, okay, this is going to be used in the battle, ukombele. So you can like tell what this is going to happen and this is going to be used for. Yeah. But I also felt like they didn't really earn those presents. Yeah. They were just given because they were there. I guess so happened kids who showed up, but they didn't really earn it. So that was a bit anticlimactic for me, because I was like, okay, so what has Peter done to earn the sword?
Yeah, but as we go along, he kind of starts earning it. Like he's faced with a situation where he's attacked by wolves, and he actually has to slay a wolf. So initially he'd not managed to do it, and then he ends up doing it. And then when he goes to battle, you see him very kingly. He's very kingly as although I feel like a bit too eager as well. But anyways, I was told to suspend disbelief, because I felt like there were so many elements that I didn't believe in this film. Like how, honestly, I feel like they were just children. They're thrust into this world where they have to be like rulers and they have to go into battle. And I'm just like, oh, the poor kids. Like so much emotional like baggage even for them. Like for instance, so you alluded to the Aslan thing, and actually let me set this up as I set up the second question. So Aslan is like the overall ruler of Narnia, as you said, and he's a lion, and he basically gives his life because according to like the deep magic, the rules that govern the whole of Narnia, if one betrays another, then their blood is demanded by the law, and Aslan decides to take up the blame, or he decides to fulfill the law on behalf of Edmund, who had betrayed his siblings. And he does this and he's killed, but due to some prophecy thing, he's resurrected. And of course, like you see, that is like a mirror of Christ and his resurrection. but so he's resurrected. But even like just looking at Lucy and Susan as they go through this, I'm like, the poor girl, she was just
Yeah.
like, already there's so much like war happening at home, and then she's thrust in this world, then like someone she really trusts dies. Okay, someone, by someone I mean Lion, dies, as in it was so much
couldn't catch a
emotional
break.
baggage for this
She's not
chick,
catching a
man.
break, eh?
Yeah. But anyways,
And I think that's why also some of those scenes have been really, really like PG-13.
It's
Which
true.
which was kind of frustrating me as well, because I want to see
like in the battle, there's a whole battle and a whole war, and we see no blood. Like maybe just like cuts and scrapes and stuff, but no blood whatsoever.
yeah, even when I think the 3 places where I wish they could just have pushed the needle, but I think PG-13 movies right now push the needle a bit further than back in the day. So when Peter kills the wolf the first time, I wish that could have been shown on screen, because we just hear the
Yeah, we don't see. You didn't
we
see.
don't see
You don't
it.
see the thrusting
We
of
don't
the sword.
see
Yeah.
it. So that there, and then now when the witch also kills Aslan, it's also off screen because we see
Yeah.
their reaction.
Yeah.
We don't see the actual death. And then now in the war when Edmund is like, I know that one would have been like drastic, but I think that one would have been most. The others can remain bloodless, but those ones are the ones I think the show could have pushed the little kidogo for believability's sake.
Yeah. But I guess it's just to preserve the innocence. Maybe when did this film come out?
And
Like
it's
2000.
majorly targeting
2008.
children.
Yeah. So I guess maybe parents were more protective then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Marvel movies, they don't show blood, but they are kind of violent. Like they show the violence.
Yeah.
They do for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so as I go to our questions, I think the first one I'll ask is, we've seen like Aslan is being portrayed like as a parallel to Christ, and I guess this was just to try and explain to the viewers how Christ, or the works that Christ did. So what are the differences in the styles of leadership between Aslan and the witch, and in what ways does Aslan's leadership mirror Christ? So you'll answer these questions together because time.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, how does the different styles of leadership between him and the witch, and how his leadership mirrors Christ?
Okay, I think firstly, Aslan did not rule through fear. I think, what was his, what's the word that would use to describe his leadership? Self-sacrificial, like love.
But why did people follow him? What was his
They loved him.
thing?
It must
And
have
it was
been love.
hopeful. There was hope.
There was hope, exactly. Yeah, so his was offering hope. The queen's leadership was more so governed by fear. Like she wanted subjects to fear her and revere her power, and so that would make them fall in line. Yeah.
But it's actually quite interesting. Why did she have all the ugly creatures?
Because I think for storytelling purposes,
Oh yeah.
the ugly creatures. I mean, even in Lord of the Rings, the ugly,
Creatures are
orcs and everything. They're terrible to look at. But the good guys have to look good.
They have to look good.
have to look
yeah,
good.
even the horsemen looked
Even
good.
the centaurs look good.
Yeah,
Centaurs.
centaurs. Yeah.
It's not centers.
Centaurs. It might be centaurs, yeah? I don't know. Centaurs or centaurs? Centaurs. Yeah.
Sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah. No, so I was just saying
Yeah.
fear versus hope. I think the queen is also okay. There's also the fact that she, like, her leadership is one that I don't know whether the fact that she was an ice queen, and nothing can thrive in the cold, and so there was never nothing was blossoming, nothing was blooming. People were never in a situation where they could thrive. And when you juxtapose that to Aslan's territory, and where it's all green, like kuna flourish, and so that can kind of tell you about the character of the person who's ruling the place.
Oh yeah, and even to like jump in, sorry, when Aslan gets this army, and now there's like hope that they're gonna defeat the Ice Queen, it starts getting warmer, the winter starts
It
ending.
does, yeah. And he's also one who is willing to sacrifice himself on behalf of others.
Yeah.
The queen is one who would sacrifice others on her for her own desires, or for her own whatever she wanted to achieve. So yeah, because Aslan put himself in the way for even someone who had quotes in quotes betrayed.
Why are you saying
them.
quotes and quotes? He betrayed them.
Okay, sour. But Okay,
Oh,
so
he didn't know what he was doing. Is that why
he was
you're
a child.
contending?
He was a child. Anyway,
Okay.
He should have known better, but he did
I
not.
think he did the Jacob and Esau thing where he betrayed, or okay, I know Jacob and Esau didn't really like betray the it was Jacob.
Yeah,
He literally
Jacob,
betray
from-
Esau, but he stole his inheritance over a plate of
Lentils, because it was
Yeah.
lentils.
no,
It wasn't even hata si nyama, ilikuwa
Lakini
lentils.
he took advantage of an opportunity.
Yeah, but you know what Esau said? Hey, Esau, nimesikia Esau si Esau. He said, shall I, like, what good is my inheritance if I die from hunger now?
Kumse alikuwa njaa.
Alikuwa njaa, man.
Kuna kufa. Alafu una auction, una nini, una bargain food. Aye.
like think about
It's very unfortunate. Jacob, man, I'm sorry. But your character?
so Edmund did the same thing to his
Yeah.
siblings for
Yeah.
a plate of Turkish Delight.
Delight. At least Turkish Delight ilikuwa inaka tamu.
Sold them out.
Sold them out,
It's
yeah.
even worse than 30 pieces of silver.
Actually, yeah, because you at least unaweza invest. Hiyo unakula unashiba imeisha.
Imeisha. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm done with my juxtaposition.
No, you haven't mentioned how it mirrors Christ.
Oh, yeah, how it mirrors Christ. I think the self-sacrificial servant leadership. Yes, and the whole leading by example, because he's the example we are to follow. Aslan was there. All the people would look to embody Aslan's traits because of just the person that he was. He was the embodiment of good in this film. Yes. And he had such a also he was bold and courageous, like, you know, and that kind of does mirror Christ as well. Yeah, bold even to face death, to face evil, and to kind of not even scoff, to defeat evil, you know. Yeah. And he understood, you know, there was such a very, very imposing scene. Later, walienda kwa tent kuongea, aki-negotiate for Edmund's life, where now she's trying to reference the deep magic, quotes in quotes, which I think was an analogy of, I don't know the word, which was spoken before the beginning.
Yeah.
And he was there.
Yeah,
Aslan said something very, very powerful in that, like, I was there before there was the deep magic, like something to that effect.
Really?
Yeah. He did say something to that effect. So I was just like, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that, but I didn't connect it with like like First John 1, that one. I am
Before the...
like that's the kind of
No, because he
says the
like
deep magic
metaphor.
is older than the world. It's older than even the world that was formed. And then Aslan is like, usijaribu kunikumbusha, and when I was there.
Yeah, and the deep magic also governs truth, what is true and what is false, what is right and wrong,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, actually it checks out, because then it says that because what the witch comes to tell him that he can take Edmund's life is someone who's a traitor belongs to me. So people who are fallen belong to Satan, belong to the devil.
Yeah.
Unless now he's bought out by blood, because essentially that is it checks out.
Yeah.
Actually,
So
as
the
a
law in the
metaphor.
word was defeated. It was also like, you know, he what is it? Fulfilled the law in a sense. Because he didn't go against it, he fulfilled it.
Yeah.
HROs were supposed to get that.
Well, right now, because you know, you can watch with a child and be like, cheki, unaona scripture inasema hivi, Aslan ni kama Christ. Wow! I was just like,
Because as we're getting it right now, after or rather me.
yeah.
Okay. I don't think I have anything else to add that you haven't said. Now, I think in the end, when he actually, Aslan now defeats the witch, so good defeats evil. Yeah, from his leadership, I think you've mentioned most of the things. I think he had an aura to him.
He did.
That
Stage presence. And also, can we just appreciate the fact that he was cuter than any lion in Mufasa?
Yes,
He was
100%.
actually very cute as a lion.
100%.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the best, like,
Looking
lions.
Yeah.
And this movie is made in 2005.
2000. Yeah, they
really
did
well
not-
done.
Yeah.
It was really well done.
Yeah.
It was really
In
well
comparison, I'm surprised you haven't mentioned that one of the good things I liked about Aslan's leadership was the grace he showed when Edmund was finally returned to like Aslan's camp.
Yeah.
Of course, he was feeling bad. He betrayed his siblings, and then he turns out even the evil witch treated him so badly. And then when he's like captured back and returned to Aslan's camp, he's taken to Aslan's camp. Aslan like has a word with him, and then when he's returned to the siblings, he tells them like, we don't need to speak any longer. We don't need to speak of this anymore. Like, I loved that grace that was shown to Edmund in that moment, because it's kind of like, in as much as he'd gone and he'd seen
There's
and he's
no
done
more
all
guilt.
these things.
Yeah.
There's no more guilt. There's
No
no,
more
use even
condemnation
talking about
for-
it. Oh, yes. There's no
and-
more condemnation.
Yeah, and also
For those who are in Christ.
let me look for that verse, but we usually say
There's
that
now therefore no condemnation.
he
for this.
forgives, God forgives our sins, which is true. He forgives our sins once you give yourself to Christ, but also he forgets. There's a let me look for
Your slate is literally wiped.
Yeah.
clean. Like your rags are torn off. you,
yeah.
you
So
float
Hebrews
through the righteousness of Christ.
18:12, for I will forgive. Okay, let me just open. For Hebrews 18:12, for I will forgive their wickedness and will remember their sins no more.
Mm,
So
yeah. Hope.
it's a show of grace.
The
Yeah.
message of, yes, you did terrible things, you betrayed us, but that is all done and dusted, and we move on.
Water under the bridge. Now it's moving forward. And even when he's at the end, he's crowned just like his siblings.
Exactly.
Like, I really love that.
Yeah.
Like, and he's been called Edmund the Just. Yeah, but I really like that. Like, it doesn't matter, like, okay, not that this is a license to sin, but now when you're forgiven, like,
I think it's the power of redemption. There's redemption for even the vilest sinner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that is a very good note to end it at, but we have to go to our rating. So, I guess on believability, how believable was this movie, and why is it one for all of us?
Yes, it is a two. It is a two.
Oh my goodness!
Because
Wow.
yeah, I'm really sorry. I really
Your inner
tried.
children are
Yeah,
like
my imagination was not.
are
too
so unhappy
childlike
with
to
you
shake
right
the shines
now.
of the
Yeah.
Your inner children are like scoffing at you guys right now. Furahi rating yenu hata kidogo. But yeni rate your inner child. Don't rate as an adult.
To be honest, my inner child would have preferred this animated.
Okay, I see. I
That's
see why.
what.
I
That's what
actually-
my inner child would have wanted.
No, I don't see what would have been made better by it being an animation.
Okay, I think it's because in my mind I'm thinking like Avatar is animated and it has kind of not similar, but okay, it doesn't have lions though.
It's the bias. This lady loves animation
Oh yeah, she has admitted it in the past actually.
Okay,
and would be
so
willing to forgo the scenes of a plot purely because of its animated
It's
quality.
animated, yeah.
Willing to forgo bias. You can see.
It's
so
not
biased
animated
you. But
drama.
okay then, I'm sorry even to my 8-year-old self, but I will rest upon the two. I think it's because some of those plot points that I think if I read the book will fill those in, is or gaps, will really help like in solidifying
That's true.
and
That's true.
immersing you 100% into the movie.
Yeah. You.
Believability, wacha nipatie 3.5
Why?
Because of nostalgia.
because of nostalgia. I watched it as a child.
Wardrobes.
I'm giving the rating of my inner child because I'm connecting with my inner child.
I feel like your inner child even would be a 5. You're giving
Oh,
it
yeah, that's
3.5
true.
because you're kind of weighing it with the stuff that didn't make sense now.
So,
Yeah, just give the 5.
because beavers talk, lions talk. There's
All
fawns,
animals talk in
animals
this
talk.
movie.
There's wardrobes that have a whole new world.
Yeah.
I would have loved that as a child. That
Yeah,
as well.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I would have totally loved it. I would have been checking my wardrobe every day.
Hey.
Actually, it's actually kind of scary to think about as well. But yeah, I would have. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'd give it like, honestly, a 1. There's so many things I feel like.
1.
Yeah.
Guy.
For
brutal.
my inner child, 5, definitely. My inner child will not be looking at it critically at all.
Yeah.
I'd just be enjoying it and vibing. But then I think now watching it a second time is when like I feel like so many things kind of didn't make sense to me so much. Like I've said, the emotional like baggage these children had to bear. There's issues of like Edmund and Peter suddenly are serious warriors. Have you
With no training.
with minimal training?
can
You
fight
know
against
how
the ice
hard
cream.
it is to shoot an arrow.
Yes, exactly.
Susan can do it, but Susan can.
And even that part was a bit disappointing because I'm pretty sure in the books she uses that bow and arrow more times.
She does.
She literally
Inakuanga tu
shot
ka
it
prop,
once.
man.
Like, why? Why give her a bow and arrow and just let her use it once?
Yeah.
That, I think there's a page on YouTube. It's called Fandom, that now they discuss a lot of different fandom things in this type of genre movies. So they had this list of like the best arrow throwers in movies who ever exists, and I think Susan will be the last because she does it.
The books maybe is gonna redemption. The books have
I'm
redeemed
sure.
this person. The books must redeem her. Yeah,
I'm sure she shoots that arrow more times because
Yeah, so stuff like that. Even Lucy, I think she throws a knife and it lands in the target. As in,
and even
with no training.
And even in the movie, this actually took me out. We don't see her throw the arrow. So we see
or the knife.
Yeah, the knife, sorry. We see Susan like do the
shoot
the arrow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then now the next scene is just cut to the knife hitting the bullseye.
The bullseye.
And I'm like,
we didn't even see it.
Okay, editors.
Yeah.
We can see you lied.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to 8-year-old Steve.
Honestly, but I think
Sawa.
I don't know. Do we have a ranking for how good the CGI looks? Because honestly, for
It
movies
that was
that
good.
long
It was very
ago,
good.
That
it
was
very
good.
good.
That was
like
good.
the mythical creatures, they actually looked good.
That was good, yeah.
Yeah. But so believability for me, I think there were just stuff like that. They fall into freezing water and they're okay. They keep going on. I get it was getting warmer, but hypothermia, man. Hey,
naona nguo za kuchange. Naona nguo za kuchange
Hawana
ati
nguo za
wakitoka.
kuchange, nothing.
But they walikauka very
Walikauka
fast.
very
Walikauka
fast.
tu
Na
wakiendelea.
kuna jua.
Eh.
Na kuna snow.
Yeah.
Ni watoto.
Kwanza ni watoto. Waingie ndani ya nyumba vae sweta. Anyway, so that sawa. So believability, that creativity. I think on creativity I'd give it like a 5. I feel like it's a very good way to break down the gospel, to break down Christ's works, and just break it down to maybe like an audience that wouldn't understand all the complexities of it. So I really like that. Also the animals. I think C.S. Lewis was one who was like friends with J.R.R. Tolkien.
Yeah.
Man, these guys had this thing, creativity going, man. Your friends.
Fantasy.
Yeah, the friends is around you, man.
It's true.
Yeah, but so the animals were creative. The storyline is interesting. I really liked the creativity of this movie.
Same.
Oh, so 5.
Yeah, there are 5. It's 5s all around. I think from what we're discussing, it feels like the adaptation is the one that may have fallen short of what C.S. Lewis had written. So even when you go to recommendability, I'd say just go read the book. Yeah.
Okay. So creativity, we've done creativity, believability, and entertainment. I don't know, Gopa.
Why? Be nice. Be nice.
I'd give it a 3.
Is that more than what we are giving?
Yeah, I'd honestly give it a 3 because of my bias on C.S. Lewis, to be honest. I can't give him a bad rating.
It's true though. Okay, honestly, I can't give entertainment more than 3.5. I can't.
Yeah.
It wasn't entertaining.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
Could have been more thrilling, honestly.
Yeah.
Considering the whole fantasy idea, Kwanzaa, it could have been more entertaining.
Yeah. But I know, like, as a child watching this,
You'd have been
so exciting.
Yes.
Yeah. And then you'd be like, oh, will they, won't they? Yeah. So, yeah. Recommendability, then Christian and learning skill.
Okay. Recommendability for sure. I'd say you can watch it, but preferably, as Dorina has stated, read the book. Read the books. Actually, I think it's a
series. Yeah,
books,
read the books.
Read the books. I think there's much, much more to capture from the books. Much more depth for sure. And I think even in terms of evoking more lasting memories or just someone more understanding. Because when you read, you have more understanding. So if you're able to walk a child through that story and then they're captivated, they're like, oh, nice. It would be really nice for them, in a sense,
Yeah.
build their imagination, but also kind of draw them to the gospel in a very interesting parallel that C.S. Lewis has done.
Yeah,
through the
so
book.
if there are any parents watching us, I guess we recommend this.
Yeah,
as,
absolutely.
could be.
Put that in the shelf. Yeah,
And I think it's on public domain by now.
it must be, huh?
Chronicles. Let me check. I think so.
And then lastly, the Christian or learning skill.
You go first.
5, because they're not subtle about it. This is a kind of parallel to Christ, so it's not even subtle.
But they're very creative in the way they depict. Because you can miss it if you're not paying attention.
Oh, yeah.
You can
I
miss
think
it.
that's why it was able to be made by like Disney.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not on the public domain, so but you can share their ways.
Buy the book. Support creatives.
Yes, buy the book. We do not encourage piracy in this podcast.
Yes, we do
No,
not.
we do not at all.
There was. Yeah. But you can borrow the book from someone who has.
Yes. You're done on the learning scale and
Christian.
Yeah.
yeah, I think I'd give those 4 each, or a collective 4 for both of them. I think on the again for just like what we've said for a child, at least this is a different kind of fantasy show compared to what they may have what would have been like in the culture at that time, which is okay. There were a lot of fantasy shows, but the direct comparison was Harry Potter. So I think the messaging is completely different from the messaging in Harry Potter. So I think that would have been really good for a kid.
For sure.
Yeah. Okay. With that, I guess this concludes our video. Thank you for joining us and staying up to this end. And keep watching, keep subscribing. Yay. Till next time.
Bye.